Welcome everyone, thank you so much for joining in. So looking at this Korean Bitcoin price action, you can see on my previous video I told you there was a very likely scenario of price getting pulled back around this 18,300 before we would see any sort of a price movement to the upward direction. And you can see exactly price did came at the 18,300 and we saw that coming beforehand, guys, because we are actually using the CPR indicator, and this CPR indicator is actually a leading indicator. So this provides us information beforehand, before the trend has already started, because in most of the cases if you use like Bollinger Band or moving averages, those are lagging indicator. They give us information only after the trend has started. So that was the reason why I showed you guys how to calculate this kind of CPR line before even appearing in our chart. That is the advantage what you can get actually compared to other traders who are using the lagging indicator, guys. And also if you are new to my channel and has no clue regarding the CPR, guys, the video regarding CPR must be popping up right now. So now if you look at this price action of Bitcoin and look at the CPR indicator, guys, for the December month, you can see this line now are going to stay exactly here until the end of December. This is a very interesting CPR line because this is also an ascending CPR. But one thing you have to understand, guys, this here is a wider CPR, right? This is wider CPR. Look at this narrow CPR. In narrow CPR, what we can actually expect is volatility entering. So in our case right now, this is a wider CPR. So this wider CPR more likely tells us market is heading in a sideways direction. But if we look in our case right now, guys, the target has already been placed. So according to this December CPR, our target of Air 1 is exactly at 22,000 price level. And you can see why this is so important is because every time when you see this kind of ascending CPR appearing and also the primary trend heading in this manner, this is a very bullish primary trend. You can see that, right? It's clearly heading to the upside. So in that case, if we notice each and every month starting from the March, you can see price always came to test the monthly Air 1 level before seeing any sort of a price pullback. You can see price came here all the way to the monthly Air 1 and then boom, we had this price drop. Here as well, guys, you can see price came back here. In most of the cases, you can see the price has tested the Air 1 level except this one here, guys. In September month, we never had this opportunity to test the CPR indicator. And what happened in that case? You can see the price fell like a free fall at the monthly support line. So in this case, you know, if the price is not going to test the Air 1 line, that means we have to be careful because the price could be heading towards the S1 support line. So this means in all of these cases, the price actually did manage to touch the Air 1 line. So here you can see as well. But now this is our target to the upside, because right now if you look at this, guys, there is also a very high probability of price coming around this 22,000 price level until the end of December. This is what the CPR indicator is showing us right now, because so far as you can see, except September month, price always came to test the Air 1 line. So if the price is not coming to touch the Air 1 line, and if you would see any sort of pullback, then watch this line here to the downside, the red line, which is at 15,350 price level. So guys, right now looking at this price structure, you can also understand that this CPR line, the top CPR line, the central CPR line, the bottom CPR line, this is one hell of a support for Bitcoin, right? So if the price of Bitcoin would see any sort of a pullback, you know which target lines are we looking at. And you can also see right now exactly at the top CPR line, the price is finding support. That's why this is a very important indicator, guys. And if you can actually master on this one, I'm definitely so this is going to help you a lot in your trading journey. So now what happens if the price actually is not going to hold here anymore? So in that case, guys, what we will be looking at is the central CPR line. The central CPR line is around 17,500 area. So is there a possibility of price getting pulled back around 17,500? Because the CPR line, the central CPR line is actually at 17,500 area. So is there any reason why the price could actually come around this area? For that, I'm actually going to show you a different chart, guys. Now, I'm actually coming back to this analysis, which I have already talked plenty of time in my videos. But the reason why I'm actually doing this is because if we look at this price structure of Bitcoin here, right, I told you guys this here was a Wyckoff reaccumulation phase and we should see a possible move to the upside. This here did exactly like what we expected, right? But here the price was unable to break the previous structure. We made double top and had a price correction. But here exactly, I also showed you guys with the Wyckoff's reaccumulation phase schematic 4 that this is going to be another Wyckoff reaccumulation phase before we see any sort of a a price movement to the upside, and the price also did exactly like what we expected. But why I'm actually coming back to this is because if we look at this symmetrical triangle and look at all the symmetrical triangle which had a breakout, guys, you can see what kind of price movement was this. We had a breakout here, right? And again we had this another massive move to the upside, formed this descending broadening wedge, and again started heading to the upside. And again, same, just like here, guys, we came back to the symmetrical triangle scenario one more time, right? You can see here, symmetrical triangle scenario. We broke out of it. We had a pullback, just like with this example here, and then again a move to the upside. And what did we did, guys? We did exactly like this here. We start to form this descending broadening wedge, and here we also had this descending broadening wedge. After this descending broadening wedge breaking the upper line, you can see we had a massive move to the upside. We couldn't break further because we had this double top here, and then we saw this price drop. And if we look at this scenario here, this here is also a symmetrical triangle, right? You can see this. You can also look at this in a bit different way, doesn't matter, but you can see the price movement to the upside, guys, is exactly like the previous one. The move here, pull back, and then boom, right? This is exactly what we saw here as well. And right now, after this breakout, you can see after this breakout pullback, what did we form? We formed descending broadening wedge. Let me show you, right? This is what we formed. We formed a descending broadening wedge, and look at this. After breaking this descending broadening wedge, we had a really nice move, again formed this symmetrical triangle here. After this symmetrical triangle, just like here, again what did we form, guys? We formed another descending broadening wedge. And right now, what could be a possible scenario for Bitcoin? We could be forming descending broadening wedge again, guys. So this is why I'm actually showing you this scenario, this possible price pullback, because right now we could be forming this descending broadening wedge. And also I showed you guys, is there any possibility of price getting pulled back right now? Because you can see this previous resistance line could be acting as a strong support at this current stage for Bitcoin, because now we are seeing some sort of a price pullback. But if we would see any sort of a further pullback, guys, we can also expect price coming again around this 18,500, 18,200 price level, and then more like a consolidation phase. Because if this is going to pan out just like here, guys, just like with this descending broadening wedge, price must have a massive breakout scenario just like this one, or just like this one after this descending broadening wedge. So what I'm actually expecting is, even though if we are going to see any sort of a pullback, guys, the breakout must have a massive move to the upside. So this is exactly what I'm actually expecting if this is going to be a descending broadening wedge, because I told you, if the price is going to go even lower than this one, the 17,500 area which I showed you with the CPR line, right? The central CPR line exactly at 17,500 area. So if in our case the price is going to go even lower, come back and test this area, then we can also expect this descending broadening wedge to be a bit longer than usual one, because you know here we have a strong support, and right now where we are, this is also the top CPI line. So this is the reason why the price of Bitcoin is actually holding this price level, guys. If the price is going to break to the upside, if this is not going to pan out like a descending broadening wedge, this 19,400 is where I will be actually looking at, because if this is not going to follow this descending broadening wedge scenario, then price must hold above this price level of 19,400 area. Because if we could actually hold above this, then I'm pretty much sure that we could see a massive move to the upside, breaking the 20,000 price level, because we know according to the CPR 22,000 is our target area until the end of this December. So let's see how this one is going to pan out, and also how the CPR is going to pan out. So now, guys, I'm actually going to show you a very interesting scenario again, what could also be unfolding right now for Bitcoin. For that, let me show you the chart. So guys, now if we look at this price action of Bitcoin in a 4-hour time frame, you can see the final and the bottom CPR area is around 16,500. And if you look at here, the 16,500 area, does this actually make any kind of sense that there might be a possibility of price coming down to this 16,500 area? Because if we look at this scenario, guys, this here could be also playing out as a double top scenario, right? And in case if this is a double top, get pulled back around the neckline area. So the neckline area is also around this 16,500 price level. So in this case, the monthly CPR actually does make sense, right? Because in the central line is somewhere around the 17,500, and the top line is around 18,600 price level. And this is where we should be looking at this trend line, because these lines are very, very important, guys. And also, if we look at this price structure here in a bit different way, you can also see right now this movement here. This could also indicate us that, hey, since the price of Bitcoin had already got a rejection to re-enter this trend line here, you can see I have talked about this kind of price movement many times in my video. Price consolidating, broke out of this ascending channel, tried to re-enter it, and it failed. And in many cases, after failing, we should see price pullback, and that has happened in most of the cases. So right now, as I've already told you guys, be careful, because the price does looks a bit tricky, right? So if the price is going to break to the upside, we want price to close above this 19,400 price level. So if the price could actually close and consolidate above, then there is a very likely chance that we should continue further in an upward direction. And if you want to look another possible scenario, I can also show you this price movement here, again with the ascending channel. So if you look at this here, you can also see, since we have already reached the top part of this ascending channel, this ascending channel has already acted as a resistance here, we should see a price pullback, and this pullback could be around the lower line of this rising channel. So because you can see this bottom line or the lower line always acted as a really nice support. After that, we had a move pullback, again we have another massive move to the upside, and right now this could also indicate we should see some sort of a price pullback. So guys, this is exactly what I wanted to share with you in today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If so, smash the like button and also hit the subscribe button and the bell if you're watching this for the first time. So by saying this, I'm signing off. My name is Anup. Bye bye guys.